Good morning, Heaven Bound family, and anyone who might be listening. This is Pastor Larry with a moment in the Word on this Thursday, the 27th of May, and we have been studying from Adam, and we went down through the flood in Genesis chapter 6 and chapter 7 yesterday. In chapter 8, the flood ends, and Noah disembarks from the ark. In chapter 9 is an important chapter in the sense that government is established and a new dispensation is began. We go from the dispensation of innocence to the dispensation of government, and God passed a law right after Noah came off the boat, which if man would have lived by, the lives that could have been saved. You see, God established in the 9th chapter of Genesis that any man who takes the life of another man, his life is to be taken. There was no life imprisonment when taxpayers would have to pay for the dental, the medical, the lawyers, and so forth of a criminal who has taken someone's life. Capital punishment was established by God. We don't have to wonder if it's right or wrong, moral or immoral. God established it, and God is perfectly moral. And what a shame that man, in his arrogance, thinks that he is wiser or more compassionate than what God is. Anyway, in chapter 9, we have government is established, and God makes his covenant with Noah there. Chapter 10 is a very important chapter, though most people don't care to read it, because chapter 10 gives us the genealogy of the sons of Noah, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, but especially while chapter 9 covers Japheth and Ham. Chapter 10 gives us the genealogy of Shem, which is of importance to Bible scholars, for it's through Shem that Abraham will come. And the reason chapter 10 is important is because if we will sit down and do the math, if we will figure it up, we realize that Abraham was born 292 years after the flood. Now, what's important about that? One thing, it's a coincidence. It's 1948 years since Adam when Abraham is born. Isn't it interesting? The father of the nation of Israel was born in 1948 BC, and Israel becomes a nation again in 1948 AD. Just a coincidence, maybe, or just a point of interest. But the thing that is real interesting, did you ever wonder where these men of God, the likes of Noah, the likes of Abraham, where they obtained their faith from? What if you go back and you study? Enoch was a preacher of righteousness, and Enoch named his son Methuselah, which means that when he is gone, it will come. In other words, Methuselah was a constant message of judgment. All of Noah's, or at least the first 500 years of Noah's life, Methuselah was still alive. Actually, 600 years, because Noah was 600 years when the flood came, and Methuselah died the year that the flood came. And so Noah would have gotten his faith, no doubt, from Methuselah, from Lamech, who were both alive during the time of Enoch. Now then, Noah lives after he comes off of the boat there, 300 and I forget the exact years, 300 and some odd years. Abraham would have been 58 years old when Noah died. So very possibly Abraham knew Noah himself. Noah's son Shem actually outlived Abraham by a number of years. And so Abraham could have known both Noah and Shem, and therefore could have gotten his faith from the likes of these men who certainly knew of God's mercy, of God's grace, and of God's judgment. So chapter 10 and 11 are important chapters in the sense that they give us the genealogy from Noah down to Abraham. When we come to chapter 12, which we will look at in the morning, Abraham is called when he is 75 years old to go out of Ur of the Chaldees, to go up to Haran, where he will abide until his father, who is an idol worshiper, Terah, will die in Haran, and then God will speak to Abraham and guide him down to Canaan and promise him the land of Canaan for his descendants throughout all generations. And we'll look at Abraham's call. And what do we learn from this? And this is this, my friend. God has a call on every one of our lives. Every one of us are created by God for a plan, for a purpose. If we go to Ephesians chapter 2, verse 10, there it said, especially we who are Christians, we who put our faith in Jesus Christ, we are created in Christ Jesus unto good works which God has foreordained that we should walk therein. And so if you would live a successful life as far as God is concerned, then you will understand that you are born again by putting your faith in Jesus Christ. The old nature dies, the new nature comes alive, and we become new creatures in Christ Jesus, and we are ordained by Jesus to do good works which God has foreordained that we should walk therein. In John 15:16, Jesus said, you haven't chosen me, but I have chosen you and ordained you that you should go and bring forth fruit, and that fruit should remain. God calling Abraham is a type of the fact that God puts a call upon each of our lives. I would ask you this morning, you who are might be listening in on YouTube, are you fulfilling that calling that God has for your life? If you are, then you're knowing the blessings of God upon your life. And you're held in his hand. You're guided day by day. And nothing can happen to you that's not for your good, according to Romans 8:28. The blessed life is a life that is lived for the glory of God. And when we live our lives here for the glory of God, then my friend, Jesus, as we taught last night, and we'll be teaching the next several Wednesday nights concerning what we will be doing in eternity. And what we will be doing in eternity will be determined by our behavior in this life. Hey, this is Pastor Larry with a moment and a word. Go forth. Be a blessing to someone today. It'll bless you. It'll bless them. It'll bless God. And God, in turn, will bless you. Have a blessed and wonderful day.